The small village of Igls nestles in the mountains above Austria's second city, Innsbruck. Twice a Winter Olympic venue, and it's on a modified version of the 1976 track that the BMW IBSF Bobsled and Skeleton World Championships are being contested. Hello everybody, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to the third run of the women's bobsleigh competition. We're just about to get the second day's action underway with Germany's Anja Schneider-Heinze leading the event, but a tightly packed field behind her. Olympic and world champion Kaylee Humphries, the Canadian, lying in second position overnight, 31 hundredths behind the race leader.
Yeah, her biggest challenge was the start. She didn't have the great start, but boy, she can certainly drive down the track with high speeds. And Alana Myers, you know, and Lauren Gribbs, they were there in the first heat, close, but in the second heat, Schneider-Heinze got away from them. She won the World Championships last year. She's still in the hunt for the gold. A lot can happen here. Myers fell behind Humphries, and Schneider-Heinze and Drazik, though, they dominated at the top of the track. And when you have that type of start time on this track, you have a superior advantage, more so here than any other track that we compete on.
Annika Drazik, perhaps part of Schneider-Heinze's success secret. She's new to the team last season and has transformed Germany's fortune. Schneider-Heinze, though, herself a world championship and Olympic gold medal winning brakewoman, and now is her chance to secure greatness as a driver. She's got a 0.3 of a second lead, and that gives her a confidence cushion. It allows her maybe to get away with an error or two. Well, the drivers all getting ready to go in the third and into the fourth heat. There's Katie Eberling from the USA, rookie in her first World Championships with a good 8th position overnight. And there is Schneidi. She looks very strong. Melissa Lotholz was chatting to her just a few minutes ago. Kaylee Humphries, her driver at the top of the track, and looking forward to this. Humphries with just a couple of little things she'd like to turn around after yesterday's drives. Lauren Gibbs there and her driver Alana Myers-Taylor, the reigning world champion. We've got 18 sleds in our field. Rode up this morning with Pierre Luders, talking about his brakewomen who are all thin, really look like sprinters still rather than bobsled pushers. He said, "What do you think of our skinny kids now?" I said, "Pierre, they are fast." That was never in question, and that's what you need at this track, John. You need a start. After that, you can negotiate the rest with the track, but if you don't have a start, it's never going to do you a favor.
There's 65% here. Here's our start list. They're going in the order of how they finished yesterday. This rule was brought in a few years ago to get people to stay on the World Cup circuit and achieve points. And on this track, it's a good move. For you could see the results in the men race. So it's going to be very difficult to catch everybody, or to catch Schneider-Heinze, if she has any type of run that she had yesterday.
So the 37-year-old German veteran, halfway to greatness. The reigning European champion, can she add the world title?
Well, she was superior yesterday, 5:40 at both runs. Boy, Drazik is in the sled so quick, 5:44. Well, the temperatures are similar. We're starting about the same time. We'll see if that is a conservative start. She's the first one down, the rabbit, 65.4. We're looking at split times.
Of course, with nobody else having done a run today, she is setting the benchmark for everybody else to try and judge, the coaches maybe more than the drivers, where they're likely to end up. Little skid there.
Again, she's got a huge lead on this track. She's got to start making some errors, and the other team's got to, that was late there. Boy, that looked a little bit like what happened to Christina Hengster.
Yeah, got away with that. 53.12. Well, that's, she did a 53.13 in the second trip yesterday, so it's a fraction quicker than that, but her first, a 52.94.
Well, you consider she's 400 slower than yesterday, and she came down 100th better. So I think we still have some speed in the track here. Now, this is dicey. This is 9-10. This wasn't the issue for Anya. Down at 11, 12, and 13. I'm sure she made Christoph Langen's heart bip a little bit more.
He might have just aged a couple of
Right
years.
here, look at this. She's up there in no man's land, and boy, she yanked it there.
Yeah, you saw the upper runner, the front runner, just clear of the ice. It almost rolled on her, but she got away with that.
That's what Hengster did yesterday.
Well, there's the Olympic ring of our double Olympic champion, Kaylee Humphries, double world champion as well. She won the world title in 2012, 2013. Went on a winning spree, didn't she? 2010 Olympics, 2014 Olympics, bracketing those world titles.
So she's got to get 50, 51, and she's got to get closer to challenge Schneiderheinz here at the start. 55, so she's again 11 hundredths down. That's 30 hundredths at the bottom.
Which means that she sits down. She's already over 4 tenths adrift.
Half second down, so I don't think Schneidi had the perfect run. She's 51. That gets to 60. No chance. Gets to 52 here. She can get into it on the bottom. 50. She's coming back already. So she needs to get this down in. It's got to be in the teens to have a chance here, but I don't think that's possible.
I think they've gone with fatter runners on the front of the sled for the warmer, softer conditions that they're expecting. But you're right, she needs to be within a tenth or 1500.
She's lost more time back here. She's going to be probably 37, 38, which means she's 3-4 hundredths worse than yesterday, 36. So she was 33, she lost 3 hundredths more.
If she was only a couple of hundreds back, that wouldn't necessarily be so much of a drama to lose a further 5. But any further loss when you're 3 tenths back.
Well, 53.17. Yeah, that's better than her second run. But
yeah, the second one got away from her. It was 24 hundredths slower than her first run.
Well, she was the dominant female at the start in the 2010 game. She blew everybody away. You can see her profile. She is an awesome athlete. Loholtz, 22 years old. She has really improved as the season's gone on. But Kaylee went from the top starting team in the world to probably the best driver with the lesser start. And Schneiderheinz, boy, that's a lot for her to be ahead going into the final run.
Well, racing's racing. It is all still possible. Next up, Alana Myers-Taylor, the world champion. Behind her, Lauren Gibbs, the 5'11" athlete from originally LA, Southern California.
5:45 in the second run. This was the best starting driver in the world last year when she won the world championships. 5:48. Well, everybody's slower at the start track today.
She was fastest on every one of the 4 runs in Winterberg last year in the World Championships at the start.
And she had Cheryl Garrett on the back then. The US switched things up this week.
But with Lauren Williams, she also won the World Cup race here in Eagles. Again, the fastest at the start in both runs.
Just a lethal tap before Kreisel. She's 48 back. Now she's chasing down Kaylee here for at least a silver medal.
Speed is not as good as in the first heat yesterday. Sled was up to 120 at the bottom. She's not there. And she loses more ground as well.
32. Now she's 1,700 clear.
That's 2 tenths slower than Schneider.
She just went down 1,500 slower than Kaylee, too.
Yeah.
With a 700s better start.
The gaps are opening up, and this is one of the problems of running from fastest down the field. The fastest athlete gets the best ice and is likely to extend their advantage.
Well, this is like moving day in golf here, the third heat. Watch the back end of the sled going into 8. Well, tap, airborne, not smooth. That's been tricky to everybody. Watch this tap here, though. She tapped before Kreisel. She tapped down here in the exit of 10. And, Martin, you said she had way better speed yesterday in the bottom part of the track.
Well, a little bit more head scratching for Kaylee Humphries and Alana Myers-Taylor. 2 world champions in the last 2 world championship competitions. And what about this girl, Stephanie Schneider? Lisa Marie Bugwitz we'd seen before as a brakewoman coming up through the ranks. Stephanie Schneider has arrived with a bang.
She was a brakeman last year at the World Championships for Kathleen Martini. She got a bronze medal. And boy, did the Germans accelerate her learning curve into this front seat of a two-man bobsled, two-woman bobsled.
Talked to Rennie Spiess about her. She had started driving last year in the first few months of the season. Then in January, they said, right, let's concentrate on the Worlds. Started her driving again this year. He said she's win it or bin it. She'll either be on the very top or the very bottom of the time sheets.
Well, she looked pretty good. Ooh, but that's... I've seen a lot of people do that, though. She's lost a lot of time back here with a 57 start.
He said she's such a raw rookie. He expects at least one random run out of her. This might be the one.
Well, curve 10 to 11. Clean, smooth. Very good there. Pretty commercial run here from this first-year World Championship participant. Boy, she was 90 down. He likes it. 53-36. I think she might have beat Alana Myers there.
Look, she's had half a season of racing. She's done about 3 race meetings. So she is as raw as they come, but the potential there is absolutely evident.
Yeah, she's just off of Myers this time. Well, this is a rookie that you might as well get used to hearing her name. She's young. She comes from track and field. Look at that bounce into 5. There's a tricky little entrance to curve 5 up there. Here's the exit of 9. Real pivotal part of the track.
Made her debut last week in the World Cup. She's silver medalist in a bronze medalist in the European Championships and the junior world champion. Now, problems possibly for Jamie Gribble-Poser. Spoke to Sherelle Garrett just about an hour ago. She was hobbling around. She had a hamstring pull yesterday. She said, I've had a lot of work. I said, how good's it going to be? Are you going to push? She said, we're going to give it a go. That is not what you need with day 2 of the World Championships.
Well, she had a 56 yesterday with what you just told me. This could be 63 or 64.
They were 5th and 6th pushes at the start.
57.
All right, that's the same as Schneider.
That's
only a couple of hundreds behind Kaylee Humphries. So
well, everybody else has got worse at the start. She comes up with a hamstring, and she's only 100th off her second heat time yesterday. So, boy, but she's way behind. Wow.
yeah.
She's way, that skid at before curve 1, I think. Wow, she's way behind.
The ice conditions are different from the way they were in training.
She went from 74 hundredths to over a second.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is not going well for Jamie Gribble-Poser.
Yeah, she did do well in training all week. We thought she was just, you know, setting the stage.
Only a week ago in St. Moritz was the first time she's been out of the medals all
6
season
out
long.
of 7 events. 5th best time. Wow. Something. Look at the coaches.
41 hundredths slower than Anya
She
Schneider.
medaled 6 out of 7 races before St. Moritz. 6 out of 7 races coming into this event.
Yeah.
She'll be lucky to stay in 5th. Wow. What happens here? Something happens at the start. Boy, a lot of head movement back and forth there, Cheryl Garrett, but she does that. Now watch the sled come out of the start grooves. You see the grooves in front of us. Now watch the sled come to the left. It does it.
Hasn't got her hands on the handles.
Here
And the
comes.
sled just, it's taken a little
Now
steer off the
Does
grooves.
she hit?
She's straightening it up there fractionally, trying not to steer.
But look at that. Look at what she has to steer there, and she has to steer into the first curve that way.
Anya Schneider Heinz leads from Kaylee Humphries. Alana Myers-Taylor lies 3rd. Third heat of the Women's Bobsleigh World Championships. Christina Hengster on a makeup mission. Her and Sanna Decker rolled down at the bottom of the track on the first run down the course. Only the 3rd sled in the entire World Championships.
You know, we thought she was going to get ruled out for concussion.
That crash silenced, silenced us. Silenced the crowd.
65. Now she's way back, but she could get ahead here of Jamie Grubel. She was rocketing down the track in the first heat. Talked to Walter Delicart about it. He said she just made a slight mistake in the exit of 10.
Interesting view of it from Stephen Holcomb this morning going up in a truck. He said, you look at it and you think, what's she doing? Has she just lost it? Or is she trying to do something that we're not doing? And that's the way the drivers look at her. What was going on? She knew she had it, and then it wasn't there anymore. It had gone.
Walter says just pure mistake.
So she's certainly trying to hunt her way back up towards the medals.
Getting closer to Jamie Grubel here.
It was always a long shot.
Well, she crashed yesterday. There she is, fourth best time, but she takes over the lead for the fifth place position.
Yeah, overhauls Jamie Grubel poser.
A couple people said she would have been in third or fourth or fifth at the end of the two heats yesterday.
Yeah.
Here she is now at fifth. Give her, well, red badge of courage. What do you want to do?
No
She crashes, it comes out here, it just toughens it up. Feet low across the ice. Look at her drag her feet, how low she keeps it. You don't want to have those feet too airborne is the technique. And Decker, look at her arms, just about locked. Look at the angle of, then down here, this is where she crashed yesterday. She's well away from that point. Yesterday, she was 2 feet higher on that curve, 10 feet down. There's Walter Delicart in the right back to
She knew she had it, and then it just wasn't there. It just wasn't doing what she knew it was going to do. It was quite perplexing. Next up, Germany's young star this season, Mariama Yamanka with Elina Nolta. Another good, strong brake woman behind her. Mariama 25, Elina 26.
Nolta's been transformed to a different person. She's lost about 8-10 kilos. That relates to the new rule in women's bobsled for lower weight, the combination of the sled and the teams, which opens it up to lesser weight females in the sport. And there's a lot of females in the competition. They spent a couple of years putting on 8 or 10 kilos, and now they were told in 3 months to take it off.
7th place.
And when you start, and Aaron Nolta was saying, when you take it off, you take off your strength too. So there's been a real challenge for athletes like Aaron Nolta.
Medium high line out of corner 10, down into the lower labyrinth. Still in 7th spot.
It's a great year she's had. Never been in North America. No problems at Lake Placid. No problems at Park City. No crashes at Whistler. She's pretty good season. She finds a way to improve her start. I think we're going to have a number of Germans to deal with here.
And she's overhauled a couple of the established women drivers as well, like Sandra Kroll, Miriam Wagner, who are both ahead of her. They were the benchmarks when she started in Europa Cup racing. She's just blown straight by them.
This is top of the track where any tap up here is lethal. Down here, look at the heads. This is the transition. Looks a little late there. And then here, she probably has to steer hard to come off there. And then into 13.
You forget she didn't do the first 2 races of the World Cup season because she hadn't raced on enough different tracks to qualify.
Yeah, she had to go scramble to a couple of Europa Cups. And
that's how
first
much
time
of
we
a
saw her
rookie.
was in Königssee.
That's how much of a rookie she is. Next up, another rookie. Brake woman turned driver Katie Ebeling with the 5'1" pocket rocket Kerry Jones behind her. And Katie Ebeling, a real hope for the future for US bobsledding.
Pretty impressive yesterday at the start. It's been pretty impressive in the last week at St. Moritz, and here, World Cup, she's running with all the big dogs, as we like to say, and she's been good. That start time there wasn't her best, though.
No, they
61.
Started a 10th quicker yesterday.
She was the 3rd and 5th best starts yesterday, and she was right off the top. She's the 6th here.
17th start draw, so they had really pretty poor ice in the first
yesterday.
heat.
Ooh, flop there out of 5, 4, 5, 6, 7 now, which is the prize.
had the 6th fastest run of all in the second heat, which really shot her up the order. Climbed from 10th to 8th overnight.
Watch out, a little late here.
Her
Get it down, though.
Her target, Mariana Yamanka, started 700s in front.
Time, pretty commercial.
And it is now 2200s up, so 53.75 from Katie Ebeling.
700s away from Yamanka, and now she's fallen really back. She's
Yamanka's shaking her off.
2300s back, but her start wasn't as good.
That's the World Championship deal. You've got to do it 4 times, not just 2.
Look how high she gets you. Look at the X-Drive logo. And look how high she is. She's way above that. She'd almost should have the bottom runner on it. And then you got to steer down. Then you got to steer back up. And, you know, all that steering is friction. And here out of 9, she might have made the mistake way up in Kreisel, 200 meters previous to this, and it finally caught up with her down at curve 9.
Katie Ebeling lying in 8th place. Anja Schneider-Heinze, the race leader, halfway through our women's field. 9th spot, the best of the Belgian trio. 3 sleds from Belgium. Alpha Willemsen, who started her career as part of a TV reality show to find a team to go to the 2010 Games in Vancouver. With Sophie Verkruijsen behind her, now in her 9th season. Alpha Willemsen.
She gives up so much time at the start. She needs a 1,400 meter track. This is 1220. This is one of the shortest tracks, if not the shortest track on tour. She does post the best speeds on the bottom part of the track, like she did yesterday in the first heat, but she's so far behind, it just demands such a precision coming down the track. It's, you know, you're going to make a mistake here and there. Have a start deficiency like she does, puts a lot of pressure on her driving. 184 back. Wow. Way off the pace.
Speed is dropping as well. 96.3 at the last clock in the first heat. 97.8 down at the bottom. She had 119.7, 3rd quickest. Be about there again, 119.7, exactly the same speed at the bottom, but taking too long to get there in each of the runs. 1 3/4 second back.
Yeah, 1,400, 1,500 meter track. She's got a chance to get in the top 5, where, you know, she's ranked 4th in World Cup points. She medaled in the 1st and 3rd events of the season. Last time out in St. Moritz, she was 5th. That's 1,700 meter track. You know, former hammer thrower.
Slip there from Sophie Verkruijsen, 2nd or 3rd step maybe, I'm not sure.
Good.
Started 2/10 slower than Katie Ebeling, came down 100 slower at the end of the 1,200 meters.
That's her signature, but boy, it's like not having a good serve in tennis. You might be able to get away with it with some people, but you know, in some places. But here at bobsledding, on this track, when it's 65% emphasizes the start, it's not good.
Next up for Russia, top 10 finish overnight for Alexandra Rodionova, with Nadezhda Vzerka behind her. Vzerka new to the team this season. Another one of their gazelle-limbed sprinters. Rodionova was a luge athlete. She was 6 in the games in Whistler for Russia's luge team before converting to bobsleigh after the 2014 games.
Knows the ice, and I thought we would have seen a lot more of her this year, but Belarus kept her on the Europa Cup tour, both of the Russian teams. As you said the first team, he wanted to give them more confidence at beating people.
Yeah.
Now here they are in St. Moritz last week, not a very good performance, and here in Igls, even though they got the sprinters and they got the experience, they haven't had any good results.
She's had 3 wins and 3 other podiums in the Europa Cup so far this season. Gives her that
good
confidence.
lines. I mean, she knows the ice. I mean, the most famous luge athlete to come to bobsledding, Susie Erdmann. And then
Nico Walter, another good convert, twice a junior world champion in doubles luge. 53.79, only 0.03 seconds slower on that run than Alfie Willemsen. And by that standard, that's not a bad drive.
No, she moves within 20 hundredths of Elfie. And she was
17 behind,
so she lost time.
300ths. She lost a further 100th to Katie Eberling.
Start. Now this is, her hands, you see that? The brakeman's left hand was off. Watch your left hand here, the brakeman. You should keep your hands on here in this transition. You don't want to let go. Well, we can't see it there, but her hands, you know, she's not in a
trying to keep the power
position.
Going forward
now
while
she
you
does.
move
See
the
that?
grip.
Now you see the grip.
Really tough.
That's what you need in the transition. It's like a clean and jerk. You see a lot of bobsledders in the weight room, clean and jerk exercise.
There is your leaderboard. Anja Schneider-Heinze, 3 heats in, 36 hundredths up. Alana Myers-Taylor lies third, ahead of Stephanie Schneider, the rookie from Germany. Misha McNeil and Natalie Durant from Great Britain, 100th of a second out of the top 10 overnight. That's the big target for the former Youth Olympic Games silver medalist.
700 slower than yesterday at the start.
She's going to need every single hundredth she can find in the drive now to try and get herself up into the top 10. Rodionova didn't have a bad drive, the Russian who lies in 10th spot just in front of her.
The Kreis slingshot onto 8. Not bad out of 9. Look how low she is.
Yeah. She's about 5'2" or 3.
Staring there. And the track just continues to slow down every sled that comes down.
10th fastest run, but
and it's not been like this just for this World Championship. It's been like this since the track opened.
yeah.
It's history of the people go down early. In a 4-heat race, a lot of things used to come back to you, but with the new draw the way it is now, where the fastest from the first day go first,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a lethal rule change on this track.
Yeah. It
Not on
opens
other
up.
tracks.
Really opens things up. Well, it works everywhere, I think, to the same detriment.
Yeah, but St. Moritz, it wouldn't work. St. Moritz is a total different personality.
Yeah, that's the only track where going later would be of even any kind of benefit. Everywhere else, it's just going to
Watch
spread
this
the
tap
field.
here, out of 10. This is where your last acceleration point is, right about there.
And there is Misha behind, and in front, Natalie Durant. Next up is Nadezhda Sergeyeva and Yulia Belomistekin from Russia. That's not even close to how she pronounces it. Well, she swallows almost all of those syllables, Yulia.
She's the youngest athlete in the competition, 19.
Yeah.
And she comes from, surprise, 100-meter sprint.
Yeah.
Boy, that was pretty good transition for the young 19-year-old.
Yep.
They had good starts yesterday, 7th and 8th. See what they do
is
here.
very sold on this girl. He says that she's got a big 65, 64. Good getaway.
Only the 3rd, that's the 7th best start.
Considering she looks like she weighs 85 pounds wringing wet, she's got real speed.
And Sergeyeva made a big mistake before curve 1 in the first run yesterday, crushed the wall. She shouldn't be back here at 12th. With this start, she should be out in the top 10.
10 spots on the split times at the moment. She might climb a couple of places if she can hold it together at the bottom. No error there. This is more like her.
Sometimes she was leaning her head a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of racing drivers do that. Tilt the head into the corner.
She could catch up. It's going to be close for her.
Slipped away below the Kreisel.
Only
She
200
stays
away
in
from
12th
McNeil,
place.
though.
Yeah, she has closed the gap.
It was 600, now it's only 2. You know, there's races within races. There's athletes that have target points with their federations. If I finish 8th in the World Championships or top 10 of the World Championships, there's some kind of reward. It's just not the athletes in the top 3. Watch the steps of the brakeman here, though. She had a good transition with her hands. But she's a little, well, maybe not left hand, but and very high. Look at, she's not running straight ahead. Her right foot ran out. Now look how high, she's like galloping. They'll teach her that you want to get your feet down closer to the ice. But of course, she's a 100-meter sprinter too, you know, when she's 19 years old.
Brand new to the sport as well. So there is Nadezhda Sergeyeva, and there her brakewoman Yulia. So 12 sleds down in our field of 18 women's sleds. Next up is our second of 3 Canadian teams. Alicia Rissling and Julia Carenti, both former brakewomen. Carenti still is, but Rissling now on the front handles, 26 years old.
8th best start in the first run. That was impressive. 60, so this could be 64. 69, wow. That's, you need to be consistent in the sport. Everybody else is 300-400 slow. It's tough to go 900 slow. Got her first world championships. Wasn't she in the back of the sled with Kelly?
Yep. She's been in the back before. Second year driving.
What you got to do, take these great athlete break, but get them in the front seat. You put 5 of them in the front seat, you're going to find one good driver. And then you got a driver who can push. You got a driver who can push, then you can lead in the field like on your Schneiderhans.
Basketballer for the University of Edmonton, Alberta, her hometown.
13.54 flat.
The sleds this far down the field were slower in the first couple of heats, and with the track deteriorating, that isn't going to change any.
Plus, remember, you had 67 sleds down the track this morning, which that's a little wear and tear. The track crew's got a couple hours to clean things up, but when you're spraying the track and getting it ready and it's warmer, it's tough to get hard, firm ice.
Yeah.
Hard, firm ice is your fast ice.
See how warm it is. The snow is flopping off the roof, not into the track, that's certain, but it's definitely plus temperatures at the moment. There's Alicia. Next up, Maria Constantin of Romania with her 21-year-old brakewoman Andrea Grecu. Constantin may be the only swimmer in the bobsleigh field. There is a swimmer in skeleton. The British guys was a swimmer before returning to skeleton. Guess diving head first comes naturally to him.
Yeah, but her she went to track and field too after that, and her favorite athlete, Flojo.
She's a Flojo fan, either. She's got a very good memory from an early age. Mum and Dad had lots of tapes. 576 getaway, so Andrea didn't quite get her knee in the sled the way she wanted to when she was loading, the brakewoman.
And the brakewoman, Andrea, her favorite athlete is Usain Bolt. She's a 100-meter sprinter herself.
She's a driver as well, who's already started driving this season, and they hoped she'd have enough tracks under her belt to qualify for the Worlds, but not this time. Shows the ambition of the Romanians. You imagine next year they will have 2 women's sleds, if not both on World Cup duty, certainly both in the World Championships. Nice lines again from Maria.
Maria won the Europa Cup title last year.
She did.
Smooth, very commercial lines. Ooh, a little late, as soon as I said that, she was a little late on 13.
Brand new BTC sled. This is only the second week of driving it.
So she was 100th behind the Canadians. Now she's 800th behind the Canadians. So she lost more. We have not seen anybody hopping up the leaderboard like we saw in men's bobsled in the second run today when Chris Spring went from 10th or 11th up to 5th.
Of course, they were going in reverse order. This is heat 3 where you start the fastest first, and then the rest follow on worse ice.
But a lot of these are tied. These two were only 100th off her and the Canadian.
Yep.
Good technique here. The brakeman to get those arms in. Yeah, she's got some issues with her right knee. Her left knee is still up in the air.
Well, again, you see, for the driver, it's learning how it feels different to steer. For the brakewoman, it's trying to get your feet around into a different sized gap from the FES that they had before. So it's all learning. Maria not happy with that run. You can see quite clearly on her face. She's lost ground when she wanted to overhaul the Canadians. Next up, some local support. That's got to be Katrin Biles' family and friends, hasn't it? With Carleen Slepper behind her. Former javelin thrower, Carleen. She's second in the Dutch National Championships for javelin. In fact, both Austrian brakewomen are Dutch residents, Dutch nationals.
Start time. Didn't do bad driving. Did pretty good in St. Moritz last week. First time we saw her.
She was only 700ths behind Maria Constantin of Romania. You know that is the target, to try and overhaul the Romanian.
She was 100 better at the start, so she should get 300 or 400s back on her.
She needs to be mistake-free at the moment on the splits. She's in front of the Romanian sled. Little skid there. Sorts it out 9 to 10. Probably won't know where she's going to finish until she exits 14, the final corner. At the moment, ahead of the Romanians, and at the line, she doesn't move up. She is 300s behind, so she closes a fraction. Wheels her in by 400s. If she does that again, she'll be 100th in front after the final heat.
Hey, the race within a race. They've all got targets where they want to finish. It's her first World Championships. Sandra? I didn't read that, did you? Look at her right ankle. Is that taped up?
Yeah.
Calf muscle looks like. No, that's just her uniform. The calf muscle. What pictures these are. Track and field athletes, if you're out there watching, come on into the sport. We got a room for you.
Anja Schneider-Heinze, the race leader. And we have got 15 sleds down, 3 more to come in the third of 4 heats in the Women's Bobsleigh World Championships. Christine De Bruyn for Canada, with Cynthia Appiah behind her, who's been in Kaylee Humphrey's 4-man sled on a couple of times this season. Christine coming into top flight action for the first time. She leads the North America's Cup competition. She also raced in the Junior World Championships in Winterberg a couple of weeks ago.
61 and 63 yesterday, 65 today, not bad. She was one of the only athletes in the field who crashed in training. Good. Exit out of curve 2, down the R right, her left.
You can see the difference between her experience as a driver and her ability as a pusher. They start in the top 10, and she finished in 16th place after 2 heats. So she has more experience yet to gain.
If you want to know how to be a brakeman, ride in the sled, take a look at Cynthia Appiah back there. She can't see her. She is tucked in there, perfect aerodynamic placing. Boy, she was just high at curve 10 though.
Yeah. Managed to control it a little late in 11 and 12. Safely through 13, 14 across the line.
13th best time.
Yeah.
So that was the, doesn't move up and closes the gap a little bit.
1400ths away from Captain Bile.
Yeah. 1700ths. She's like 2500ths out of her teammate, Riesling.
Having a better first day and now second day than husband Ivo De Bruyn, the Dutch driver who is struggling way at the tail of the field.
Look how high she gets. I think she did that in the first heat yesterday too.
Just giving the woodwork a little wake-up call.
And you see as many sleds as we do, sometimes it's hard to keep track of.
Coach Lyndon Rush helping with the sleds there. Top of the ice, the remaining 2 sleds are both from Belgium. Anne van Nieuwenhuizen with Loes Ubrecht behind her brakewoman. 17th fastest at the start in both runs, and 17th down the track in both runs. Using the sled that was driven by Elfie Willemsen last year.
You see the spikes, 16th of an inch. They're sharp. They cut people. They cause guys and girls to bleed at the bottom of the track.
They do.
Just the way you get in. A lot of drivers got a lot of rake marks on their back.
One of the youngest all-up teams in the competition, and the driver, 24. Loes, her brakewoman, just 21.
Noise.
Loes will go back to pole vaulting during the summer after a season on the ice.
Yeah, she's actively involved with the Federation. Ooh, she's high there too. Anne's had a good year, especially in Worcester. She finished 4th.
Yep. Really good pair of runs there.
After crashing in Worcester twice in training, didn't phase her. Look at her. Just come off, hit the ball hard. That line is the timing eye, so that little bump didn't stop. So she doesn't really move up at all. 17th best time of the run.
She'll be in a battle with her own teammate, length.The, who is the last sled on the ice in this third heat.
Cohesion here was pretty good. She started with her feet locked on the ice. They aren't thinking about having their feet come down together, but there's been some discussion about if you could choreograph the steps. That's been a discussion for many years. I don't think anybody's ever perfected it. I think it's just do what your athletic instinct will tell you to do.
That might be the case. Do what you do. If you're fast, you're fast. So, final sled in this third heat of 4 of the Women's Bobsleigh World Championships. length.The from the Netherlands, from Belgium rather, with Nel Paulison behind her. Now, this is the youngest all-up team. Driver lane, just 21. And a brakewoman, just 20.
Struggled at the start, but it is their first World Championships. First time we've seen him, a little bit of a wiggle there.
Second season of driving for Lane. She's been in the Europa Cup, hasn't yet made a World Cup start. This is Olaf, Belgium's most famous sled.
He's finished 6th at the Sochi Olympics.
Raced here a couple of times in the Europa Cup, so she's got track knowledge on her side, if not experience of too many other places.
She studies criminology. The Belgian Bullets. It's unbelievable that reality TV show from 2007 to 10 and how Belgium can get a women's bobsled team together and compete in the Olympics. Unbelievable TV reality show. The result, the Belgian Bullets, the Belgian Federation.
Not only created the team, but gave them such a profile in their home country as well, that they've been able to keep it rolling on and growing it. They started with a driver and a brakewoman. They split them into 2 drivers. We now have 3 Belgian teams in the World Championships, the same number as greats of the sport like the USA, like Germany.
Look at her. She's a little bit of an angle over that calorie. Look at her legs. Look at her leaning a little bit to the left to get up there in the takeout of the next curve. That was a little different.
Also, she's pretty petite, so instead of trying to look over the peak, she's looking to one side of it, gives herself a better view turning into the corner. Anja Schneider-Heinze of Germany, 1 run away from greatness. She's been an Olympic champion, she's been a world champion as a brakewoman, and now she has an hour to wait before she goes into the 4th and final heat to try and make it as a driver on her own recognizance. They will be on ice at 4:30 local time, 15:30 GMT, 45 minutes from now. And Anja Schneider-Heinze sits on a 3600s lead over Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries, reigning champion Alana Myers-Taylor in 3rd spot, and Anja, her teammate Stephanie Schneider is in 4th, with Christina Hengster trying to reel her in. Hengster needs a monumental mistake, though, by Schneider to get her back up to 4th position. 18 sleds safely completed, 3 runs so far, and they will go 18th down to 1st in reverse order. Last to fast in the final heat. Stay with us for all the action here as we decide the first gold medals of the 2016 BMW IBSF World Championships here in Igls.